go. Alright, so I know I wasn't supposed to fly, but I wanted to fly. Okay, I do not have the approach. Alright, but we're taking off on a snowy day, so let's have some fun, folks. I've never flown a DA, so let's get this bad boy set up. Okay, so let's look at our instruments real quick. All right, nope. All right, taxi. All right, so we're gonna go. What localizer are we set to? Okay, let's add a procedure. So let's go with the flight plan here. Okay. Set a departure. Let's not set a departure. Let's clear that. Let's go to procedures. Let's set arrival. They don't have arrivals? Oh, man. Okay. Here. I didn't really Google these airports yet, but let's just say it's going to snow. We're leaving in the morning. Winds are like, yeah. Okay, let's add some winds there. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay, we're leaving Rocky Mountain, and let's say we're going to Eagle. Eagle County Regional. It's right there. All right. It's usually where I usually used to pick people up at Eagle when I was driving Uber. That was kind of cool. All right, let's see if it logged everything properly. Let me pull up Eagle on ForeFlight so that way I can see the approach. Okay, so they have an RNAV. All right, let's see any NOTAMs. Taxiway, runway, good, good. All right, let's see. The weather right now is IFR, so that's pretty cool. All right, they have a 9,000 foot runway. Elevation is 6,000 feet. Let's look at their RNAV. Okay, for runway 25 X-ray. Okay. Ooh. LDA. That's very simple. We could fly it, but we have RNAV. All right, I'm going to load in. So it already has direct. Turning on pitot heat. All right. Those are the fuses. Okay. Select an arrival. Select approach. I want to land RNAV. Yeah, let's do this one. Duchess or Colch? It's Colch. It's a little bit more direct. Minimums. Oh, man. Let's do 7,320. Actually, let's not. Okay. And let's activate. Perfect. Okay. So this will get us ready. And then we should be ready. Okay, let's close the map. We have the approach here pulled up. It's probably going to turn off, but it's okay. Alrighty, folks. I'm going to take you down to Eagle County. We're going down to Eagle. So let's get to it. I bet we have flaps. All right. Applying power. Okay, applying brakes, parking brake off, releasing brakes. Oh my God, it's doing this again. I gotta do this funny thing where I put like partial power, a little bit of power, a little bit of power, full power. So that way it gets going. Okay, waiting for rotate speed. Waiting for 75. Rotating. Okay. Okay. All right, so we're going to climb to 6,000 feet. Then we will start our left turn. Okay. All right. Let's go to Eagle. Let's intercept our radials. Let's not get too hasty. We're going to intercept them here pretty soon, so. Our first stop is going to be Colch. We're heading towards Colch and we're just climbing. Okay, establishing the radial here. It's coming alive. Two, 6, 9. All right. Turning towards 269. Okay. Got a little bit of wind today. Okay, we are climbing. Our minimum safe altitude for that area is 15,200 feet. Frequency change approved. Okay. I might have to circle around. Squawking 3201, Denver approach. Okay. Do I have autopilot? Well, we're climbing pretty good, so that's good. Okay, we're going to be climbing 263. Okay. Oh yeah, I do have autopilot on. Okay. There we go. It's going to climb to our altitude and keep our heading. This is awesome. Diamonds, baby, diamonds. Okay. All right. Okay, so we can't really see below us, but, you know, at least we're going to be coming in to our approach. And that's what counts. Okay. We are 54 nautical miles from Colch. And then we have 25 miles to get fixed and ready. So everything is looking good. Let me lean out the mixture since there we go. RPMs were a little bit high. Right now we are climbing to 15,200, which is our minimum safe altitude. So we're going to be coming in at 15,200. And then once we should be at no lower than 13,100 feet before we reach Haiti. And it tells us all of our altitudes right there in our flight plan since we activated the approach. Unless we get radar vectored, then we will adjust our course, but currently we are climbing at a pretty good rate. Tracking pretty good. Okay. Okay, turned nav mode on. All right. So I do need to get used to all of the functions, so it'll be a great learning experience to have access to this on the simulator since, you know, my first day of instrument flight, I had access to some pretty cool equipment and I was having trouble navigating it all. You know, trying to input it without having to look at it is a skill. And as you saw on the 152, flying that VOR approach, super easy. VOR alpha into Greeley. Doing a VOR Alpha and the other Skyhawk, man, that was a doozy. But we are going to obviously get used to it. Okay, and right now it's a pretty smooth climb right now. I mean, yeah, I'm using autopilot. But you know what? Autopilot off. Flight director off. All right, everything is off. So this is all me, baby. Okay. So right now we're just maintaining 75. Best climb, climbing to 15,200. Then I will activate. I am pulling a ton of mixture. I pulled all the mixture out and it's still. All right. We broke out of the clouds. Very nice. Okay. We are 49 nautical miles from our destination. This is about the view that we have. Okay. Let's keep it there. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what view just changed, but okay. All right, there we go. Okay. Pitching down a little bit, making sure that we maintain that 75. I've never flown past like 8,500 feet in a Cessna Skyhawk. So it's pretty cool to be up here at 13,000 feet above the clouds. Okay. Got a pretty good pitch. All right. Gonna activate autopilot. Flight director, heading, altitude hold, nav mode on. Okay. Oh, we have an approach mode? Okay. All right. I'm just correcting for the wind. This is so cool. All right, we got to do this without any clouds. So that way we can actually see what's going on out there. But in the meantime, I'll just grab a snack since Mr. Autopilot over here is working its magic. It would be cool if my ForeFlight and this could link up, but I think I might just have to share the screen. Okay. EGE. Okay, we are approaching our minimum safe altitude, which is 15,200 feet. All right. So now I am just going to call the ATIS. Going to tune into the ATIS. 135,575. 135,575. Okay. 135,575. All right. Hello. 135,575. All right, I'm going to put it over here. No, it's still there too. Can you? Okay, then. All right, so I can't get the ATIS. EGE. I have Centennial Airport, but I don't have the airport I'm arriving at. KEGE, where? Man. All right, well, either way, we are 85 miles away. So I'm cool with that. So we got some time to prepare. Obviously, landing lights are off. All these guys are on. Okay, nav receiver. Swap nav. Nah. Okay. All right, let's see. 135,575. Okay. Okay. 135,575. It just changed it. Okay. Let's cancel flight following. Let's see if that does anything. Squawk 1200. Frequency change. What? Why? All right, so our co-pilot is doing whatever he wants. Okay, 29er 9er 2. All right. Contact Denver Center on 128.65. Golf Sierra Alpha. Oh my god, what are you doing, bro? Okay, once we get closer, we'll be able to pull it up for EGE. That's fine. All right. We are 30 miles away, so we are getting pretty close to our destination, which is good news. Okay. We want to be at 14,000 feet. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Turning off autopilot and starting the descent to 14,000 feet. Okay. We have good speed so far. Good descent. So far, so good. Okay. Two, 6, 8. Okay. Not gonna mess with it. Alrighty. Oh, dang. Okay. Okay, we have the wind. We're still descending. 14,000, and we are 17 miles away. Okay. Going back to 14,000. All right, leveling off at 14,000. Now it's all about speed. 262, 5 knots. Okay. So now I'll just turn the autopilot on. I don't know what it's doing. Okay. Okay. There we go. We're holding on till we get established. Alrighty, folks. I have the approach pulled up. Once we cross at Kulch, we're going to be at 14,000 feet. Oh, my headset battery's low. Alright, then once we pass Mukpi, we're going to descend down to 13,100 feet and hold. Then we're going to get to Haiti. At Haiti, we're going to be at 13,100 feet. We're going to be on a heading of 178. Then, once we pass Haiti, we're going to descend down to 11,500 feet. Once we get to Japan, all right, we're going to descend down to 10,600 feet, which is our final approach fix, called Combi. At Combi, we will be at 10,600 feet. Once we pass Combi, we will be configured to land. We can start descending down to 9,860 feet on a course of 253 degrees. This will get us on runway 250. Then we can start descending, but we have multiple descent levels. So we will be descending down to 9,860 feet up until Mazbek, which is an 8.2 nautical miles to the runway 25. Then after we pass it, we can start descending down to 8,840 feet towards Opnews, which is 5.6 nautical miles to the runway 25. We're going to hold it. Once we pass Opnews, we will descend down to Roses, which is 8,020 feet, and we will hold it till we pass Roses. After Roses, we can start to descend to our minima, which will be 7,780 feet. Once we have 7,780 feet, we will hold that up until the runway threshold. If we do not see the runway threshold, we will execute a missed approach. Alrighty, folks. Get ready. And we are also category A. Our approach speed will be 75. Okay. I wonder, 1 second. Okay. All right. I am checking something. Okay. Now, I do want to fly this approach, but there's a lower MDA with an asterisk. Let's see. When local altimeter setting not received, procedure not authorized, runway 25 helicopter visibility restriction below. Okay. Circling not authorized, circling inop. Okay. All right. We have no inop equipment. All right. And we do not have the equipment for the asterisk, so our minimum descent is going to be okay. Perfect. All right, so we're making the procedure turn to Colch. Okay. Autopilot is off. My controls. I will fly the approach. Okay. Okay. Now that we are on the approach to Colch, we will hold this in 14,000 feet. Okay. All right. Alrighty, folks, fasten your seatbelts. We are approaching the airport. Now we are going to be Mukpee. We're coming up to Mukpee. Once we get to Mukpee, we can start our descent to 13,100 feet. Alrighty, folks, we are flying the approach. Okay. Okay. We are 2.2 miles from Mukpee. Let's see what your view looks like. Okay, so you guys are seeing what I see. Cool. All right, my controls. Okay, I am just flying the line. Gonna turn off the flight director. I don't know how to remove the boxes. Okay, we have to be below 210 knots on this approach, which is good. Okay, we are now passing Mukpee. And we are heading now to Hade. So we can start our descent to 13,100. Keeping that 1,000-foot descent. Okay. 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 13,100. High to Japam, that's when we descend down to 11,100, 11,500. Okay. 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 Getting back established. We are 1 mile away approximately. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, now we are turning to Japam. Okay. All right. Let's get reestablished on the course. Okay, and let's start our descent down to 11,500 feet. Okay. Okay. Just following that line. Okay. Okay. So funny. I pulled the power and it's still at full power. Autopilot does what it wants. Okay. I am trying to descend, buddy. If you would be most kind. Okay. Reaching 11,500. About to pass Japan. Okay. Reaching Haiti minimums. Okay. Starting my turn to Japan. Okay, once we get established to Japan, we will start our descent down to 10,600. Okay. Okay. Descending down to 10,000. $600. Okay, reaching those minimums. Okay. Okay, now we can start our descent down to 9,860 feet. Okay, and we can be established to land. Okay. We have crossed the final approach fix. Okay. Okay. Mask book. Once we pass mask book, we can start descending. Okay. Okay, right now we're just tracking to the runway. So 7 miles away. Okay, 9,800 feet. Okay. All right. We're going to hold 8,800 feet real quick. Till we are 5.6 miles away. So we're going to hold this altitude. Okay, we're going to hold this altitude since the approach is not correct on this. Okay, we are 6 miles away. Okay, we can start our descent. And just approaching very shallow. Okay. Okay. 6,500 feet is the runway elevation. By the way, no autopilot right now, just straight up me and the approach chart on ForeFlight on my iPad. Okay, just having a shallow descent here. Okay, we are 4 miles away from the runway, so we are descending down to 8,000 feet. Once I am 2.3 miles away, I will be at 7,320 feet. Okay. Okay. All right. Passing minimums. Runway is in sight. Okay. Alrighty, folks. We did an instrument approach to Eagle. I've never landed a diamond. $65, right? Okay. Let's get nice and centered. Okay. Thank you for all the runway. Nice. Flaps up. Whoa. Got distracted there. Alright, flaps up. Carb heat cold. Very nice, folks. Very nice, folks. That was awesome. It was very awesome. Definitely love the autopilot. Now let's go ski. Definitely do love having the approach chart. Obviously, this wasn't an IFR flight because we just had flight following. Okay. Turn next taxiway. Contact ground 121.8. Diamond. Okay. All right. Taxi GA via Alpha, Golf Sierra Alpha. Wow, this diamond is incredible, man. It was so buttery, smooth to land. I mean, it's a little bit hard to orient myself in there, but it's all good. All right, I really don't want a taxi. I'm okay. There we go. 46-minute flight. Look at that. On time, folks. On time. Well, that was our little flight over to Eagle County. Thank you for joining me. You guys have a good night. Unless I want to fly somewhere else. All right. Good night, folks.